We're live on YouTube. It always takes me an extra minute here to get Instagram. For whatever reason, Instagram is much slower to go live. But all right, we are live on both.
Nice.
So, all right, welcome, Gary. It's been a long time coming. I don't know how many times we've said we were going to get together and do a show, and it's got to be 6 months.
I'm sorry, Dr. Crack. I get nervous about going to the doctor anyway. So, but I'm sorry we haven't done this sooner. It's great to see your face.
It's good to see yours. Fun to have you on here. We got a bunch of people jumping in already on Instagram. That's Hal Battery, Gemini, Wizard of Oz, Joel Kaplan, SGC Card Collector. Welcome in, everybody. We've got a special guest here with us tonight, the legend, Gary from Hoops and Cards. We are going to be talking all NBA basketball here tonight. 3 O's in Underwood.
Did I put that? Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I did on my name thing. Look at that, Underwood.
Yeah, I see that. That's how you pronounce it. Wood.
I just wanted the extra attention. So there you go, Chad. Sorry.
I love it. So we're gonna be talking cards the tonight, guys. What we're gonna do is Gary and I are gonna banter back and forth about some players that we think are gonna have breakout years this year for basketball. Of course, if indeed we are correct, breakout years will mean money for their basketball cards if you go and invest in them. In addition to that, we're gonna make some predictions at the end for our MVPs and Rookie of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year and things of that nature. So we'll make some fun predictions at the end. And as always, guys, I'm going to sprinkle in. I've got a couple of crack and submits, as well as some raw to grade plays tonight. Going to make sure that you guys don't leave empty-handed, that you will leave with your pockets full of ideas to go spend some money on. So we're going to get the first one started here, Gary. We're going to start with a crack and submit.
Yeah.
First one, we're going to start with so what's been hot lately, Gary, if you've been following it, is the star Michael Jordan card that went for a private sale of $1.7 million.
Wow.
I've got a crack and submit on that star card, but we're going to start with, here, I'm going to add it to the screen. We're going to start with the good old Scoring Kings, 1993 Scoring Kings. It's the Fleer Ultra. Here's the play. If you look at these numbers here, and you can see the PSA 8, whoops, I did not want to do that. So PSA 8, $800. If you look, the PSA 9 is $2,200. The PSA 8.5 is $1,002. But here's the play. Scroll down. The most recent sale on September 5th, Gary, an SGC 8.5 sold for $671.
Oh, nice.
So if you buy that and crack it out, you get a half a grade lower. It drops to a PSA 8. You're picking up $100 worth of profit. If it stays the same PSA 8.5, you're picking up $300 plus. And if it jumps a half a grade, you are tripling your money, and it is a $2,000 card. So for those that want to make some money, we're going to have a few of these plays sprinkled in throughout the episode here. That is play number 1. Scoring Kings, Michael Jordan.
Are you going to buy it right now, Chad? What's the deal?
I am actively looking for that card, yes.
Mm-hmm. I bet.
Let's see. We got some comments coming in here on IG. Thoughts on Keontae George? Yep, we will get to Keontae. He is on the list. Underwood always up to no good. Yep. That's why there's 3 O's in his name tonight.
Hey, I fixed it. I got to it.
And been buying up Topps Chrome Baseball to grade with the PSA special. None of the cards I buy are gradable, unfortunately. Yeah, that can be a problem. But all All right, so I'm going to let you kick off the first one, Gary. Who is the first player you want to talk about that you think is going to have a breakout year this year?
I know it's not this guy, but I still want to show my love for Chris Middleton.
I love it.
Yeah, and I thought you would as a Wisconsinner. I don't know if it even counts to say Wemby is a breakout, Chad, but that's the guy I emailed you. And to be honest, to be fair, you guys, I used to be all into prospecting, and I do have some prospect names coming later on in the list. But I think because I've had some real good hits, like Tyrese Maxey, Desmond Bain for a while, Jalen Brunson. But I've also had some really big misses on players that I have invested a bunch. I got more Darius Garlands than one should legally own, and it's not just a Cavaliers thing. So the thing about Wemby is he seems to be as about of a sure thing as you could possibly get in the NBA with futures. I know everybody's a health risk, but dude, you saw what he did last season. You saw what he did in the second half of the season, scoring wise, shooting wise, confidence wise. And he just has an edge. Like he has a chip on his shoulder to be the best ever. And so the time to buy him is in the off season, late in the off season, like I think in October or November. I don't know what your take is, and the other thing, Chad, is I've become kind of spoiled. Instead of like I used to go buy a bunch of cards, a variety of cards of a guy and try to get them graded. Now I'm just looking for the ones that are the most popular buys and sells. And I don't know if you would say that's still like the PSA 10 Prism Silver or the PSA 10 Prism Base, like the most, if you can use the word liquid, the ones that people are searching for the most, because, and I'm about ready to sell some of the CJ Strouds, that I bought in the off season because I think he has a good week or two. Those will keep popping. But does that make sense? I think Wemby, you focus on a PSA 10 of a card that there's going to be value in, and you buy it in early in the preseason because everybody's going to be buying Wemby in December.
Yeah, for sure. Welcome in 215 Cards. Welcome in Lefty. Lefty is joined on IG, and Brad Smith joined us on YouTube. So spoiler alert, as I sprinkle in the raw to grade here tonight, every one of them is Wemby.
Okay.
So I'm agreeing with you. Wemby is about as surefire thing as you can get. But that said, you still have to be careful with which cards you're buying.
Very much.
He's got so many of the rookie cards out there that on the raw to grades, you can get burned if you go out and you buy them and grade them and they get 9s. You can lose some significant money. So all of the raw to grade plays that I recommend, the 9s break you even or show a little bit of profit. And then the 10s really make you some bank. So those are the plays that we're going to sprinkle in throughout the night tonight. But yeah, Wemby is certainly a player that's going to break out this year. When you look at his stats and you compare, if you were to just do analytical deep dive on his stats and you did a full game for what he did last year, those stats would be unprecedented. You will see this year a quintuple double.
Yep.
You're going to see a quintuple double in the NBA this year. You just are. It's going to happen. It's staying healthy obviously is the thing, but yeah, Wemby is a no-brainer. But I do disagree with the timing that you've got. I think that the timing of it is you want to sell by mid to late October.
Okay.
Even into if you buy now and you send them in to grade them, you're 6 weeks out. You're going to be the end of October, early November, and that timing is still okay. But you're starting to run out of time to do the raw to grade, in my opinion. I think that Wemby's the type of player that if he doesn't get hurt, his cards aren't going to drop. They're going to flatline. At some point, they're going to flatline. And then they're going to go up. If he can get that team to the playoffs and make some noise like he did a silver medal in the Olympics with nobody on his team, his specific cards are really going to take off. The liquid ones obviously are the ones that, there's going to be 8, 10, 15, 20,000 PSA 10s of a base prism, just like, Ja and Zion were back in 2019. But they're still liquid and you can still make money on them because there's enough people wanting them right now that Wemby is it. I mean, we could have this whole entire show on Wemby. So I don't disagree with you. I think he is a breakout candidate.
Well, and Chad, can I add something?
Yeah.
I did go to a card show a month ago, so I did a little research. There was probably 60 dealers or tables there, and I went through just looking for Wemby's, just looking for the Prism base, the card number 136, because if you are going to buy raw to grade, I want to see the card up close, and I also want to get a decent deal on it. Some of the guys that had the Wemby, even just the base Prism, I asked them what they were asking for it, and they quoted me a price that was there were a couple guys that quoted a price that was double the eBay comps. And I just kind of walked away. I didn't like bark at them or anything, but I'm like, what? Some people have him overrated right now,
Sure.
because they think we're stupid. And you guys got to do your research on prices before you go to the show, right? And know what you're looking for as far as centering and the quality card that you hope could be a 10. But I'm with you. He hasn't even been an all-star yet, and with Chris Paul in the fold and Devin Vassell, and these two have another year together, I think they could be a playoff team.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm going to sprinkle in a raw to grade right now, and we're going to start, since you mentioned the silver prism, we're going to start with that one. Raw right now, they're doing $450-ish. Most recent sale was $458. You might have to go up to $465, $475, depending upon what's available to you. This is a case where a PSA 9, you're going to be out your grading fees because a PSA 9 sells for $470. So you can buy the raw, you can have your grading fees in there, and you're going to be out your eBay fees is essentially what it is. So there's very little risk, just your eBay fees. But if it gets that PSA 10, you're going to double your money. That's $1,000 card. So the silver is certainly a desirable card and one that you could go after.
Chad, I have a question for you. I'm not in the listening audience, but I have a question for you. Your take on the buy and grade thing, I absolutely agree with you. And yet I have not, I think because I have not been doing this on a regular basis. That's why I've kind of zeroed in on the PSA 10s, because I do know what I'm getting condition wise.
Sure.
Have you done anywhere you buy and store it somewhere, like at PSA or the eBay vault, those kind of things?
Yes. Yeah, I have. I currently have probably, 4 or 5 dozen cards at the Fanatics Collect Vault, and I probably have 100 and some cards in the eBay Vault. So,
nice.
Yeah, cards that that you're doing it specifically to flip them. Why pay the shipping fees back? You can put them in the vault and ship them straight from there. Then you don't have to worry about the labels or anything. So that's definitely a way to save a couple of bucks.
Okay, because I bought a PSA 10 Caitlin Clark silver Bowman first.
Yeah.
And I bought it in April. I probably paid $250 for it, and now they're selling on the it's in my eBay vault, but they're selling for $650. And I'm like, I'm going to hold on to it for a while, but it's tempting to sell and take some profit off the table. But it's Caitlin Clark. And I feel like, you think sell it, really?
Sell it, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and here's why. Here's why. Just like every other player, Caitlin Clark's gonna be the face of the league for many, many years. Mm-hmm. She's the reason why the WNBA is going to get all raises. She's the reason why they're selling out arenas. She is the greatest female basketball player in America. Sorry, AJ, yep. I know.
No, you're right.
There's a little argument about that, but she's the best. And at some point in time, the shine, although she's doing nothing wrong, and I'm gonna use Shohei Ohtani as an example. Shohei Ohtani is the best baseball player in baseball right now, bar none. He's doing things we've never seen before, like Caitlin Clark is doing. he is potentially going to have a 50-50 season. Do you know what his cards are doing? They're flat.
Yeah.
They're flat. Yep. They're not down. They're not up. They're not down. They're up. They're flat. It took a 45-45 or a 50-50 season to keep his cards flat throughout the year. Yeah. So at best case scenario, at some point, Caitlin Clark's cards are going to stop climbing. They're going to flatten, and they may take a slight dip. If you can 2x, 3x your money right now, take the profit. Take the profit. Sell the card.
I mean, in hindsight, I wish I had bought like 3 of them, but we all
for sure.
But yeah, the reason I bring her up is because I see similarity. Like Wemby is about to be, or he's on the track. It might take him a few years, but to be the face of basketball.
Yeah, for sure.
So when would you time it? The other thing that I think different at times with these guys, like I'll buy a card knowing that, hey, if it goes down, I'm fine holding it for a while because I know it's going to go back up, or I believe it will because that person is. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But you don't want to be stuck with a card forever.
Yeah. Brad is asking, do any Caitlin Clark or auto grade plays make sense right now? Brad, I will get back to you on that one. I have not done any Caitlin Clark research to do auto grades. Her stuff is so hot right now that I just haven't even looked at it. I haven't thought about it. But it's a good angle to take. So I will look at that and I will get back to you. If there are, I will let you know. So I've got almost 20 breakout players that I think could be breakout players. So we're not going to get to all of them. So I'm going to try and highlight a few that I think I am most bullish on. And I agree with you on Wemby. The first player I'm going to talk about here is a player that I have said for the last 2 years, stay away from. Cold cards, role player, not any desire to get his cards at all. He switches teams this year to the Chicago Bulls. Josh Giddey. I have said for years to stay away from his cards. I am bullish on Josh Giddey right now. I think that him in Chicago, I think that there is a chance that he could darn near average a triple-double this year.
And Chad,
he's not going to be flashy. He's not going to put up the 50-point games, but he's going to put up a 15-point, 11 rebound, 10 assist game, or a 15-point, 8 rebounds, 12 assist game. He's going to be flirting with that triple-double on a nightly basis. He's never going to score 30 or 40 points in a night, but he is going to get a lot of attention, I think, in Chicago. He finally went to a market where he is, him and Kobe White at this point, but I believe he's going to be the starting point guard because I think he's better than Kobe White. I think Kobe White slides over to the shooting guard. I still think that Zach LaVine is going to be gone. DeRozan's gone. They're reshaping that. Yep. So they're reshaping that team. And I think that Josh Giddey could be the guy.
Yeah, and Chad, did you see my email to you with my list? Because
I did.
So I couldn't decide because Kobe kind of had a mini breakout last year. He had a lot of good shooting nights, and I think it'll be fun to see how they play off each other. You're absolutely right, but Josh can do a whole lot of things, and there's no pressure on him now. Honestly, I mean, besides Chicago, but like there's no pressure that you got to win now or else. And it felt like Oklahoma City didn't need him. Right. Like you saw in the playoffs, he barely played, and yeah. So I agree with you. Like as far as like a sleeper too, who's got a great opportunity in front of him, you could do a lot worse than Josh Giddey.
Yeah, for sure. And now for Gem Mint Cardboard's sake, let's talk about the guy that you got ridiculed for on the other show a few months ago, 6 months ago, Keontae George.
Right? Do you want to go first, or?
I'm going to let you take. Keontae was your guy. I have picked up several rookie autos of his. I too think that he is going to have a breakout year this year, but he's your guy, so I'll let you talk about him.
Well, I kind of latched on to him maybe in January, February, when he had a lot of with Colin Sexton out at times. He would have the ball in much of the fourth quarter and make a ton of big game shots for them. And super young, like what is he, 18, 19 maybe? I mean,
he's young.
Yeah, and Utah, now that they signed Markkanen for a longer term deal, maybe that is to trade him. They have so many draft picks. I still don't know why the Cavs. I like Donovan Mitchell, but dude, we gave up so much. Markkanen, Sexton, Ochai Agbaji, and like 4 picks. Okay, I don't want to go Cavs on you. I really like Keontae George because he has the potential to. He's already a good 3-level scorer. He just needs to get used to the rigors of a 6-month NBA schedule. But I think he's going to be a fantastic player. The question that I would have back to you, Chad, is how much I love Anthony Simons.
Yes.
And they have very similar games. It took Simons a longer bit to get mature enough to do that night in, night out in the NBA. So maybe Keontae is like going to be better earlier. But even at that, I don't know what the ceiling is for George.
Well, I think he's going to continue to progress, but I think he's going to make a big jump this year, which is why he's on my breakout list. I think you're going to see him average 21 to 23 points a game. And that's quite the jump from the 14-7 that he averaged last year. Anytime a player jumps up 6 to 8 points per game, that's a breakout year. And that's where I have Keontae this year. I think he's going to be in the low 20s on a nightly basis. And that's going to get him noticed.
Well, and Utah loves him. Like they want him to take over. They want him to be leader of the offense eventually.
Sure.
So it'll be fun to see. Hey, thanks for reminding me of him because I've got a few raw Keontaes, but I need to buy in before he starts dropping 25 or 30 a night because I do think he's capable of that, and we've seen it.
All right, so I'm gonna go with a stacked in a sense that they've got a lot of guys, a lot of young guys. Houston Rockets.
Oh.
I'm going with Jabari Smith Jr. He was my breakout candidate last year. He didn't break out as I thought he would. He improved, but he didn't break out the way I thought he would. So I'm going to go back to the well 2 years in a row, and I'm going to pick him again because it's now his 3rd season. His supporting cast, he's got Dylan Brooks, Sengun, Jalen Green, Cam Whitmore,
and
Amen Thompson. And then they added Reed Shepherd. Houston Rockets have a lot of players, and I think that in that power forward spot, Smith this year in his 3rd year becomes the leader with Dylan Brooks on that team. Sengun is already a very good center. Dylan Brooks, they traded for. Obviously, he's a top caliber player. Jalen Green could be a breakout candidate as well. But I just think that Jabari Smith is going to take that step this year, and you are going to see Jabari Smith really be a leader on that team. And again, I think he's going to be a 22, 23 points per game type guy. And they need him to be. So I really like Jabari Smith for the 2nd year in a row.
Wasn't he like the second pick in the draft with Paolo?
Yeah.
To me, he feels like in a similar case, maybe a year behind Evan Mobley, where your team drafted you really high. You have the potential to be a franchise type player and scorer, but when is it going to happen? Like, when are you actually going to do it? And are the pieces around you going to help you get there, or are they going to be in the way? Like, I don't know if Sengun and Jalen Green are going to help Jabari emerge, or if they're in the way because they're ball dominant. I don't know.
Right.
I love him as far as his upside, and maybe that's obviously you want to buy him before the upside is all that obvious, right? If Jabari comes out and he's dropping 25 and 10 in the first 2 weeks of the season, right?
Yeah, for sure.
All there. Yeah. I had Jalen Green on my list, and I probably cheated, Chad. I looked at the last 20 games of last season to see what guys were having a pre-pop or a pre-breakout, and Jalen Green was like 27 a night for a while, and maybe those were meaningless Rockets losses anyway. So I don't know what they want to do with Jalen Green.
All right. As I mentioned early in the show here, we're going to have a few profit-making opportunities, and I want to go to this one here before we get too long in the tooth tonight. As I mentioned at the top of the show, one of the big storylines recently has been the Michael Jordan Star 101. Now, I don't know about you, Gary, but I can't afford $1.7 million. The doctor does not have that kind of money. So I wanted to do some plays here. There's actually 2 plays that you can do on this card, depending upon your tolerance. Now, these are expensive plays. Okay, this is big boy territory. But if you've got the risk tolerance, these could be some big dollar items here. So the first one I want to mention is if you look here at the, let's see here, we're going to scroll to the, where is it? The BGS 8 is what I'm looking for here. Oh, it's not showing up. I must be blind. I probably missed it at the very top. But anyways, the BGS 8 most recently, there it is. BGS 8 sold on August 31st for $48,000. Now, it's still a very expensive card. But if it crosses over to a PSA 8, look 2 steps above that, Gary. A BGS 8, 48,000. A PSA 8, 244,000.
Wow. Just now, like a few days later.
You know the old adage, it takes money to make money? This is a case where that is the case. However, if this card slides a whole entire grade and it drops to a PSA 7, these are the types of raw that I like. Take a look at this. PSA 7, also on August 31st, sold for $62,000. How'd you like to buy a BGS 8 for $48,000 and get the bummer news that it dropped a whole grade and you're only going to make $24,000?
Right. Sheesh.
So, I mean, there are some big boy opportunities here. The other one that I wanted to mention, and this is really big boyish, but take a look at the BGS 9, $132,000 back in June. Now we just saw if it drops a whole grade, a PSA 8 is $244,000. So you can buy a BGS 9, get it to drop a whole grade, and pick up $100,000.
Come on.
And if it goes to a PSA 9, look at what the PSA 9 is. If it crosses over to a PSA 9, it goes from $132,000 to $444,000.
Cha-ching.
Now, I know this isn't for our average listener. It's not even for me, to be honest with you. That's not the neighborhood in which Dr. Crack plays in. But for the guy, I do have listeners that follow this show that do have that kind of money. And for those that do, I mean, that is some serious money to be made when you can drop a whole grade, crossover, drop a grade, and pick up that kind of money. I thought it was worth sharing with our viewers here tonight.
It's really cool, Chad, and it illustrates the point, right, of what you're talking about. The whole buy and crack and regrade. Love it. I wish I could have that money.
Yeah. What it reiterates is the type of plays I like to make. When I'm going to crack a card, I want to be able to drop a half a grade or a grade and still turn a profit.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, Mark, welcome in. You're okay for being late. We're a half an hour in. You can go back and watch the part you missed. But we are talking about some breakout candidates. Is it my turn or your turn? I think.
Well, Chad, sorry to interrupt you. I will say when you were first going to the Jordan Star card, I looked at Bleacher Report. They had their top 5 breakout candidates for this season, and you've already nailed 2 of them. Jabari Smith and Josh Giddey are on their list. Wemby was on their list, and I don't know if you want me to tell you the other 2 yet, or if you want to wait and see if.
Well, let's see if we can nail them. You can bring the next one. I think it's your turn, so go ahead and hit me with some fire here.
Okay, you want me to bring one from my list?
Your list or the Bleacher list, whichever you prefer.
Okay, let me do the Bleacher list because I'll say this. I love Trey Murphy III. Love him. He's on their list. I think he's fantastic, young, long, can shoot from anywhere. I don't know that he's breaking out this year. That was my reason I didn't put him on my list too. I love him.
Brandon Ingram has to get traded for that to happen.
Exactly. And they still have DeJounte Murray. They still have, of course, Zion Williamson. And so it's not like they're going to need Murphy to step up and score a whole lot. Even last year, he was interchangeable with Herb Jones a lot on the court, which is fine. But I just don't see him having the big splash that he's capable of. You're right, until Ingram's gone. So at the same time, maybe that means now's the time to buy him because, right, if you look at his per 48-minute numbers, they're staggering too.
I like Trey Murphy a lot. I did not have him on my list just because there's too many players in front of him for me to predict that he's going to break out. Right. In order for me to predict he's going to break out, that also means that I have to predict that Brandon Ingram is going to get traded before the start of the season, and I don't see that happening. Could he get traded before the deadline? Maybe. Could Trey Murphy have a big second half of the season then? Maybe. But I'm trying to give breakout candidates here that I think are going to be right from the get-go. Some players that you could see in the early play-in tournament that could break out then already. Yes. Those are the types of players I'm looking for here. So I like Trey Murphy. Sorry, Bleacher Report. I'm going to give you an X on that one. But as long as you're agreeing with me with the rest, I think Bleacher Report's okay.
Yeah.
All right. This next one. Southern Cal Sports. I think he's cheating somehow. I don't know if my paper snuck up or what, but he's asking me to take a look at Scoot Henderson. Scoot is my next player I want to talk about for a breakout season. He's right. When you look at Scoot's last 10 games, he struggled mightily. He's very young. I thought he might struggle going to Portland, and he did. But he started to get it figured out around late February, March, into April. The last 10 games, he played spectacularly. He had a good summer league. I think that Scoot Henderson is a player, and it's hard to say Scoot's a breakout player because when you're that high a draft capital, are you really a breakout player or are you just hitting your expectation? But I'm saying he's a breakout player, Gary, because he was so bad last year. He went in the tank. He was a dumpster fire. People were throwing away his rookie cards. They were just. I mean, you could get. I was there at one of the shows. There was a guy with a binder that had Scoot Henderson, Donruss rated rookies, just the paper rookies, and there's 9 to a sheet. Yeah. He had them double stacked, so there was 18 to a sheet, and he was selling them for $1 a sheet. So you could have gotten 8. You could get 18 of them last year for $1. Now I know the paper rated rookies are a dime a dozen, but I mean that's how far he had fallen last year. People were literally his stuff wasn't in the dollar bins; they were in the junk. The stuff they were donating to Goodwill. People didn't want Scoot Henderson cards.
Right.
So I'm predicting he's going to have a breakout year because I think he started to figure it out at the end of last year. And I think that him and Shaden Sharp are really going to form a nice 1-2 there. And of course you've got your guy,
Anthony Simons.
So I think you're going to see Scoot really take a big jump. And I think he's going to actually live up to the potential that he was supposed to have last year. Yeah. So I think his sophomore season is going to look like what people hoped his freshman year looked like.
Yeah.
But if he does that, that will be a breakout.
And what would you say would be a good time to buy Scoot then before the season?
Yes.
Like just before the season, because the thing is he's going to have the ball in his hands a lot, and they want and need him to. Obviously, he's shown that potential to score 25 or 30 and run the offense, and they want him doing that ahead of Simons. Like Simons is the combo guard next to him. But yeah, I would say like November, maybe late October.
So last year, the play-in tournament, in-season tournament, you saw Indiana come out of nowhere, right? I think there are two teams to watch in the play-in in-season tournament this year, and they are the Houston Rockets and the Portland Trailblazers.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They have a lot to play for. They have a lot to prove. They have a lot of young players. They're going to be hungry. A lot of the veteran teams really didn't seem to care much about the in-season tournament last year. So you're going to see some younger teams like the Indiana Pacers of last year. There's going to be a surprise or two again this year, and I think one of those two teams is going to surprise in the in-season tournament. That's a prediction I'm going to make. But yeah, I would buy Scoot Henderson prior to the season. Again, I like the raw to grade plays, and you pretty much have about another week, maybe two, to get those sent off to PSA and get them back in time for selling season. If you're going to buy graded cards, I think you've got probably right up until the week of opening week. Usually the week to 10 days before the season, when preseason starts, that's when you see stuff peak. So I would say you probably want to start selling in the last few preseason games. You don't want to hold them into the first week of the season. If you do that, then you're probably holding till closer to the All-Star break. Because, as we know, cards generally go down in December. The in-season tournament last year helped cards of certain players. So if you get lucky, that could help. But I would say that you want to flip those right in preseason.
All right, so Chad, I've got a guy who will probably be an all-star this season, if not next season, and we could probably say he already broke out, and he's a reason Oklahoma City did so well. We already knew SGA was MVP caliber, but Jalen Williams put it all together, and he is so fun to watch. He can do anything on the court. He's clutch, like he was often the guy taking end-of-game shots if teams were on to SGA. I love Jalen Williams, but I think the cat's already out of the bag. I think people already know about him.
Yeah, I didn't put Jalen Williams on here because I think he was a breakout candidate last year. Could he get better? He could. I mean, he could break out even further this year. But I agree with you. He's the real deal. He's the number 2 option there. But I did not have him on my list just simply because I think he kind of broke out last year.
Yeah, okay. Makes sense.
So I'm going to go with another one here. This is a guy that has broken out, went to the desert, broken out, went to the pines, broken out again. You know where I'm going with this?
I think.
Mikal Bridges is gone.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Mikal Bridges is gone. He's going to be a starter. Here's my prediction. Cam Thomas is going to finish in the top 3 in the league in scoring this year. He is going to average 32 points a game this year. He has nobody in front of him. They've already named him the starter. He doesn't have to worry about getting his job taken on him. They know he doesn't play defense. They don't care. They've put the pieces around him. They've put some long-armed wings on the team to help with the defense. Brooklyn is retooling to be fun to watch this year. They are going to score at will on people. The scores might be 135 to 132.
Wait,
but they're
still have Nick
Claxton to watch.
At least one guy will play defense. They still have Nick Claxton. But
Yeah.
the other thing that's cool about Cam Thomas, when you think about a breakout player, and sometimes whether it's the way people perceive him or even just the card values, if a guy has a huge night, like goes off for 60, everybody hears about it. And Cam could easily do that in the first two. He could have a 60-point night.
I have 5 rookie autos at PSA right now that I bought for nothing this summer. Nothing. I mean, I literally paid nothing for them.
Yeah.
And they are going to get sold probably in the first week to 2 weeks of the season when he drops 65 points on somebody.
Yep.
And they lose by 21. It doesn't matter because he's going to be all over ESPN for dropping 60 plus points.
Right. And everybody will love him. I mean, just the highlight reel.
People are going to rush to the eBay to get his cards because he's going to be a highlight reel. He's going to be on ESPN every other night. He's going to be on the scrolling ticker. He dropped 39 to drop 45, drop 72, drop 38. He's going to drop a lot of points, and that's what people love.
Yep.
So he has no right of being on this breakout list at all, Gary, but I'm throwing him on there because I think that there is a lot of money to be made early in the season. I'm not holding Cam Thomas till All-Star break. I'm not holding him till Christmas. I'm probably not even holding him till Thanksgiving.
Right. No,
he is going to explode early and often. And at that point, his cards are going on sale. Going to take the profits and run. Many of you have watched these shows and profited with us on Cam Thomas before, 2, 3, 4 times in the past.
Yeah.
This is going to be a 4th or a 5th time. Cam Thomas is going to explode early in the year, and you want to be there to make some profits on him.
Yeah, and agreed. And I think later in the year, people won't care. Like no matter what he's doing in March or April, we'll have already seen it, and they're not going to the playoffs, right?
For sure.
Absolutely, November and December, he's gonna explode, and that'll be fun to see. It'll be fun to hear how much you make off of him.
Yeah, I'm expecting to make. I'm basically so I got these rookie autos. I don't think I paid more than $20 for any of them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I want to say I got a rookie ticket auto numbered to 99. That was the most expensive one I bought back in June or July. I might have paid $25 for it.
Wow.
It's so cheap. I sent them in at the PSA special, so I've only got $16 a card.
Yeah.
I'm going to have about $35 to $40 a piece invested in these. I'm hoping I can get at least 3 of them to get 10s. And they're going to be $100, $150 cards. I'm going to sell them, and by Christmas I'll buy them back because it'll be $25 again because he'll be in foul trouble and they'll be losing and whatever else. But he's a roller coaster.
Mm-hmm.
Buy low, sell high when he hits those spots.
Love it.
So who was the 5th guy on the Bleacher Report that we didn't hit yet?
Yeah, he was actually the one they listed first. I don't know if that meant they ranked him first. Kind of felt like it. They were looking, I think, at a guy who's – what's that?
Brandon Miller?
Oh, no. You want to keep guessing? A guy he's already on
Jonathan Kuminga.
Yes, Jonathan Kuminga.
Those are the other 2 guys I've got on my list here yet. So
okay, yeah, they probably figure without Clay, there's more scoring opportunities, and he had a great season last year. Like he's growing up a ton because somebody has to there, and he's always had that potential. I didn't put him on my list because I don't love Golden State, so that's a little Cleveland Cavalier bias. I'm still not over it. But no, you would know about his prices right now, like if he's a breakout card wise or just a, potential all-star. But
no, his cards are cheap. If you follow my IG, I just bought a couple of Kuminga cards that I posted on pickups of the day here in the last 2 or 3 weeks. So I've bought a couple of them because all these players that are on my breakout list, I'm buying they're rookie cards, and I'm sending them off to get graded. I'm not going to hit on all of them. I don't need to. If I make enough profits, I only got to hit on 25%. I only got to be right 25% of the time here to make money on these.
Great.
But no, I agree that I think that Kuminga has a shot. I also think that the sophomore Brandon Podziemski
Yeah.
from Wisconsin, I think he has a shot at being a breakout candidate this year. But I'm not real sure what to think of Golden State this year myself. But I do think Kuminga is going to be going to get every opportunity to break out this year. He's either going to turn into a bust or he's going to turn into somebody that they thought that he was. We're going to find out this year because they're spending a lot of money. They're giving him the reins to the ship. He's going to be starting and getting a lot of minutes, and we're going to find out what he's made of.
Yeah.
So the last one I had on my breakout list then, Gary, was Brandon Miller. He kind of broke out as a rookie last year, right? He was in the shadows of Wemby all year long as a solid number 2, even really in the shadows of Chet a little bit. But Brandon Miller, I think, has all the tools to be an all-star, if not this year, by next year. I mean, he is a very good basketball player. I think he takes another step. Now, you got to remember, LaMelo, if he's healthy, comes back this year. That should help him as well. I think Brandon Miller is going to be another player that you could see really take a jump this year.
Well, and can I follow up with LaMelo? Because he could be comeback player of the year, or he could be continuing to struggle with injuries and not be real good shooting wise. Like I don't know what to make of him. And whatever he is going to really affect Brandon Miller. And I love Brandon Miller, and I agree with you. We saw just a ton of potential in his first season,
Yep. So Mark is asking here, did we talk Clark at all? Was debating on the new Panini instance, figuring out other more desirable cards will be out by the time he gets them. Season will be over. We did talk Clark early, Mark. Brad asked if I had any raw to grades on her. I did not. I told him that I was going to do some research and get back to you guys. My next video, I will talk about possible Caitlin Clark raw to grade plays. I am not big on these Panini instants that are coming out. Panini takes so dang long to send them to you that by the time you get them and then you get them back another 45, 60 days from PSA to get them back from grading, it's almost going to be the start of the new WNBA season. So I'm not huge on the new Panini instance. But let's make our predictions, and then we'll end with some more money-making plays for the guys here at the end. We're 50 minutes into this. We said we'd keep it around an hour. So I'm going to start with my MVP, and I saw your notes, so you agree with me. You were split decision, it looked like, on your MVP pick. So you can pick the other one. I am going to go with Luka finally gets his MVP this year.
Yeah.
I think they added the right pieces. I think that Dallas is going to be at the very least in the Western Conference Championship game with a chance to go to the finals. I don't know if they're going to make it, but they've got all the pieces to get there. And Luka gets his MVP this year.
It's hard to argue with it, and Dallas, like, out of nowhere, it looked like they were stuck with Luka and not a lot to add except when they got Kyrie and gave up a ton. But they got PJ Washington for almost nothing, and he's been fantastic for them. Derek Lively falling to them in the draft was a gift from God. Like, and then it happened. I don't know if you remember seeing his first game. He had like 16 points and 18 boards and 3 blocks, and they're like, "Who is this guy?" Well, he's a 7-foot, 18-year-old who plays with his hair on fire, and he's all that to say, those are the guys Luka needed around him. So absolutely. And when we did the MVP pick, Chad, I didn't know if you were saying who we think, will win the vote and get the MVP, or who you would pick if.
No, I think who's gonna get the vote and win MVP.
Yes. So my guy that we split or both had to get same guys was the Joker, right? I had Nikola Jokic, and
Yep.
I think he's the best player in the world. I don't know that he wins it again because we want another shiny new toy.
Yes.
So
another reason why I like Luka is because of what Kyrie said in the offseason this year. Kyrie can open his mouth and insert his foot pretty hard sometimes. As you know, having been a Cleveland fan, yes. Right? But Kyrie, when they asked Kyrie when he first got traded, it looked like the two could not exist on the same floor.
Right.
They bowed out. They didn't even make the playoffs, and everybody was like, what did Dallas do? They're done. Stick a fork in them. Is Luka going to get traded? I mean, there was all this talk, right? And then out of nowhere, Dallas comes last year and kind of shocked everybody with how good they played.
Mm-hmm.
The surprising thing to me was when they asked Kyrie, I thought Kyrie would take credit for it, and he gave all the credit to Luka. He said, it's hard not to be an all-star when you play with Luka because he makes everybody around him better.
Mm-hmm.
And when I heard that, and now I know that the Golden State gave Klay Thompson to him, and Klay was terrible these last couple of years, right? Is Luka going to do the same thing for Klay that he did for Kyrie and resurrect his career? I mean, Kyrie was all of the league when he got traded to Dallas, right? I mean, nobody wanted him. He was a cancer in the locker room.
Yeah.
His career was about over. Nobody wanted him. Klay Thompson basically got traded for a bag of chips or did he even sign as a free agent? I don't even know. But
I think free agency.
Agent, but they signed him for little to nothing. Golden State didn't want him back because they had Kuminga in the wings.
Yeah.
But Klay Thompson was terrible last year. I mean, he wasn't even like good, former all-star good, like getting old good. He was just bad.
Yeah.
I think that you're going to see, with the comments that Kyrie made, I think you're going to see Klay Thompson with a resurrected career in Dallas. He's going to shoot the lights out because all they need him to do is shoot.
Yeah,
they don't need him to do anything
he doesn't even have to create his own shot anymore.
He just has to stand there, catch the ball from Luka and Kyrie, and nail 3 after 3.
Yep.
So that's another reason why I think that Luka's going to win MVP.
He'll benefit from having PJ at the other corner. So they'll spread the defense. The other thing I think is going to be interesting to see, since we're talking about these guys helping Luka's cause as an MVP candidate and helping Mavericks advance, it'll be interesting to see how Paul George helps Joel Embiid's MVP kind of a season, stretching the floor for him, and how Mikal Bridges coming alongside Jalen Brunson. I think Brunson is my dark horse pick for MVP. And maybe it's just because it's still just blows my mind that such a short dude who can't, it seems like he can't get around anybody, but he just muscles around them and then does fadeaways. Like he is so creative, but he averaged over 32 a game in the last 20 games last season. And all that to say, I think the Knicks are a championship contender now, and he could be an MVP.
For all those folks watching that believe that the NBA is rigged, Jalen Brunson needs to wait his turn to get an MVP. Luka's first.
That's true. That's true.
All right. Now, Defensive Player of the Year. This is no shock to anybody. You and I agreed on this. I don't know if there's any debate even about this. If he stays healthy, I don't see anybody that can dethrone him. It's Victor Wembanyama.
Yep.
When you compared his stats to Rudy last year, Defensive Player of the Year, it was a joke.
Yeah, I can't believe they didn't give it to Wemby. And was he even first team all defense? He should have been.
He was, but I mean, when you looked at his numbers, he had better numbers than Rudy last year playing part-time. It was a joke. I mean, what were the people that voted on this? What were they looking at? So there's no possible way with him playing more minutes this year that Wembanyama does not win Defensive Player of the Year. He just has to play 70 some games this year, and he's going to win Defensive Player of the Year.
It's true. It's true. So I'm all in on Wemby there. I wasn't going to say Evan Mobley.
All right. Most improved player. This could also go to Wemby because he's going to take a huge leap. If we believed he was our number one breakout candidate, it could go there. But I'm going to go with he was most improved last year.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to remind everybody who won last year. Okay.
That is who won last year.
If he wins it again, like we're going to the well again, and he averages 35 a night because Paul George tears his ACL in week 2, I think Maxey is going to have a great year. But anyway,
I do too. I love Maxey.
Yeah, who is your most improved this year?
Chet Holmgren.
Okay.
Chet Holmgren is going to win most improved player. He's going to take a leap. He had a very solid year last year. At the halfway point, many people thought that he was leading Wembanyama in Rookie of the Year statistics and votes. Wemby, of course, caught him and passed him down the stretch. So he had a very good rookie year. But when you see what he did in the weight room this year, he bulked up a little bit. He's going to be more aggressive on the offensive side of the ball this year. He could have been a breakout candidate as well. I think he's going to take that step. My most improved player of the year prediction is Chet Holmgren. Who do you got?
I love Chet. I'm trying to remember who I sent you on the email. And most improved can't be Ja Morant, right? That's comeback player of the year potentially. And most improved can't be Tyrese Maxey. We already ruled him out.
You had most improved Brandon Miller.
Okay, I'll stand by that. But I should say me standing by that is he has all that potential, and it just is LaMelo gonna harness that and defer to him offensively, or is LaMelo gonna try to prove that he's still the alpha and shoot too much?
I don't know, but I do think Brandon was one of my breakout candidates, so I do like that pick for most improved as well. I think he's got a good legitimate shot there. For Rookie of the Year, I don't know did you put a Rookie of the Year?
Yes, I did. I put Zach Edey.
That's right.
I don't like watching him play, but he's a great fit for Memphis, and it sounds like he's gonna slide right in and start for them. And it could be watching for the Derek Lively effect happening, just like it did for Dallas, this happening for Memphis. And I think some of that for him is contingent on does Memphis put things together with all these pieces that haven't played together in a while? Ja Morant. Okay, and now you're
comeback player of the year.
Yeah, they really could do it. And I think Desmond Bane and Jaren Jackson Jr. are talented enough and yet good enough team players to defer to Ja. And who's the guy I was talking about? The big guy, Zach Edey. Yeah, Zach Edey. I think he steps in and he's that. Was it Steven Adams they had for a while? Yeah. The reason I picked him not because he has the highest upside of any of the rookies, but just because I think he's the most NBA ready and he's going to be an impact player.
Well, I hope that all of my listeners have been following my advice since the Ja injury and buying up. I screamed from the rooftops, buy as many Ja Silver Prism PSA 10s as you could when they got down cheap. I've got several that I bought at or below $400 a piece.
PSA 10?
PSA 10s.
That's
they
awesome.
Were down. I got my lowest one I got for $354.
That's awesome.
They are currently creeping up, Gary. They are up to $672 was the last sale. So they're up $250 from the 400 when I was telling everybody buy as many as you can afford to do. And they are going to continue to go up as he will be comeback player of the year. But so I have to go. I'm a UK fan. I got to pick a Kentucky draft choice. So I was torn between Reed Shepard and Rob Dillingham, but I'm going to go with Rob Dillingham as Rookie of the Year.
Is he in Minnesota?
Yes.
Okay, let's hear it.
Yep. I believe that he is going to slide right in. He's going to fit well into that rotation. He'll probably not start. He's probably going to be first or second off the bench, but he can flat out score the ball. And he's going to get every opportunity to do so in Minnesota. So Reed Shepard, I didn't pick him because Houston's so crowded. There's 7 or 8 guys that you could pick on Houston for breakout player of the year because you just don't know. Reed Shepard broke out in the summer league. If you were watching, Reed Shepard was the best player. He was the best player in the entire league in the summer league, based on points and scoring. He looked like a man amongst boys. He could score at will, and he's that guy. But I just don't know in Houston. There's only one ball, and there's 8 guys in Houston. I'm already picking Jabari to be my breakout player of the year. So I can't. I couldn't pick Reed Shepard. So Rob Dillingham is my Rookie of the Year. And I don't think I asked you for 6th man of the year, but 6th man of the year, I think this is hands down Benedict Mathurin. He's going to be coming back. He missed the playoffs with injury for the Pacers. People forget how good he was. He was one of the big reasons why they knocked the Bucks out of the in-season tournament back in December last year because of how good he played. He is a legitimate threat as the 6th man. So
wait a minute. You are a Milwaukee, like a Wisconsin guy.
I am.
Do you feel like a sense of you're betraying Bobby Portis right now by not picking him again? Because he's
a little bit, but I have to go with Mathurin because I like to be right.
Is Derek White? Is he still or is he a starter now? I know they got Drew and Jalen and Tatum and.
I don't know if White's starting or not. He did start some at the end of the year. I think he started in the playoffs, so I'm not sure. Even if he is, I still think Mathurin wins sixth man of the year award.
Yeah, and Mathurin is automatic scoring like that. I love having him off the bench. I'm curious.
I think Nebhard's going to start this year, so if Nebhard starts, that leaves Mathurin coming off the bench for 6th man of the year.
They could make a deep playoff run. As much as I hate to say it, they could make a really. Here's a question, Chad. Why have neither of us mentioned any Pistons? We didn't go Cade. We didn't go Ivy. We didn't talk about Jalen Duren. I just feel like that franchise is in purgatory or something. I don't know what's going on, and yet they have all this talent.
Well, I didn't pick. Any. Cade could have been on a breakout player of the year candidate, but the Pistons were such a mess last year. I have a hard time hanging my hat on any Piston. If I had to pick one, I would pick Cade Cunningham. He looked like the real deal last year, and I think he's going to continue to improve. Yeah. I just have no faith in that team for anybody else to take that next step. I hope they do because they got a lot of young talent there, but that team is just a mess.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Go ahead.
We're going to do a couple of plays here to help some of our watchers who've been listening to us. If they're bored listening to us, make some money here at the end of the night. So we are going to go with the Victor. So these are plays that we're talking about making for Victor. This is his mezzanine blue prism. If you take a look, this is an interesting one, and I picked this out just because I want to see if anybody else finds this intriguing. So raw, this card sells for $31, right? You can see on the top on 9/10. PSA 10 on the 9th of September sold for $81. So it's not a huge upside that you would think. But look at the PSA 9 below it. On 9/6 sold for $85. So did the PSA 9 go for way too much? or did somebody absolutely rip the eyeballs out of that PSA 10? So when you look at the chart here, that PSA 10 at $85 is down from $115 3 sales ago. So I think somebody just absolutely stole that on a late night auction, and that PSA 10 is really $110 to $120 card. So when you're looking at a $31 raw investment and you can get $80 on a PSA 9, giddy up. That's the type of no risk play that I like to make.
Yeah.
All right, let's do another one here. Let's do the Euphoria Pink. This is a Origins card. Now, Origins do not grade all that great because they're a thicker stock card. But there are none. There are zero. Pop count is 0 for PSA 10s. But raw is $175 and a PSA 9 is $260. So if I can pick up almost $100 on a PSA 9, I like my odds. And if by chance I'm the first PSA 10, Lord only knows how much that card's going to sell for, right?
Yeah.
The guy that gets lucky enough to get that first PSA 10 is going to make bank. All right, let's do another one here. All right, we're going to do the premier level green, white, and purple. If you do take a look at that, so the raw is $40, but the PSA 9 is $60. So you are going to break even on a PSA 9. You're going to double your money at $103 on a PSA 10. So again, I like the plays where I have very low risk and a high upside. And that's the types of plays that I am looking to make. And those are the ones I recommend that everybody goes out and chases, because those are the ones that you're going to make your most money on. We're going to do, this is one of my favorites. I actually just got this card. So if it's good for me, it's good for everybody, right? This is the Optic Pink, Hyper Pink. It's a 225. Optic is relatively hot off the market. It's been out for a month and a half. Raw, $81. A PSA 9 is $115. So you're going to have a small profit at a PSA 9, but it's $267. How's a nice triple your money if you get a PSA 10?
Wow.
That's one of my favorite plays right now for Wemby, because the optics are so new coming out that they haven't been recycled. It's not like you're going to find somebody that's had a bunch of them sitting on the shelf and they didn't grade them because they aren't gradable. You're getting people right now that are ripping boxes and they're just trying to get their money back out of the box that they ripped. So you're finding some really high quality Hyper Pinks right now. The gem rate on the Hyper Pink is almost 70% right now. So, so I really like that play. Let's do one more here. Gotta give the guys another win here. See, trying to find a specific one here. Hopefully this is the one. No, all right, we're gonna do one more after this. This is the neon icon green. $22 in raw. PSA 9 is $55. So you're going to make about $10 on a PSA 9, and a PSA 10 is $76. So you're going to, again, a little better than double your money on a PSA 10 with very little risk in a PSA 9. All right, let's see. I'm trying to find the checkerboard if I can find it. No, level disco. All right, so Premier Level Disco. This is a little bit more of an expensive play. As you can see, that they get up there a little bit pricey. I'm not talking about the serial numbered ones. This is the base. So if you do the base, it's $138. but a PSA 9 is $220. So how's a nice $75 profit on a PSA 9?
Mm.
And then if you scroll down to the PSA 10, the 10 is $430. So how's a nice $300 profit on a PSA 10? That is another one of my favorite plays. I'm actually watching one that ends here in about an hour and a half. So if you go out and you find that one, guys, you will be bidding against me, just FYI. And then there's the checkerboard. All right, we're going to end on this one, Gary. This is another optic. And the reason I like optic for grading right now is they grade very high. You can get some high quality copies. And there, again, are 0 PSA 10s yet. I'm sure there are some sitting at PSA right now that might be 10s, but none have hit the pop reports and none have sold. So raw, this is an expensive card, $579. But in a PSA 9, you can pick up $100. So that tells me that a PSA 10 is probably going to be somewhere $1,200 to $1,500. If you remember, the silver prism raw is $460, and the PSA 10 is almost $1,100. So if this is almost $600 for raw, I got to think $1,200 to $1,500 for a PSA 10. And it's a relatively easy card to find because there are about a dozen of them on eBay right now. So a little bit more expensive of a play, but one that's manageable. So hopefully the plays that we gave the guys tonight, the raw to grades, will help make it worth their while to sit and listen to us, as well as our predictions for some breakout players. Hopefully we are right on some of these, and yeah, you can't
This
go
guy.
wrong with Maxey. Hey,
every year he's a breakout, Chad. Every year.
Did you know right now that the rookie ticket auto base raws of Maxey right now are down to about $400?
No, should I jump in on those?
I'm
a big fan.
Yeah, I've been watching them. I keep telling myself if I can get one, I keep sniping them at like 395, thinking I'm going to be the first one under 400, and they end up at like 410, 415, 402. But yeah, they're affordable right now.
What were they at the peak?
Raws were about 750.
Wow.
At the peak. The PSA 10s, the funny thing is the PSA 10 didn't give you a whole lot of. So the PSA 10s last year, I know Lefty had one, and I think he sold it for like 750 on a PSA 10. But they had really, after Embiid got hurt and Maxey took off, his cards went down. It made no sense last year.
Right.
But if you went back to like preseason last year, they were going for a little over $1,000 in a PSA 10. So
wow, awesome.
They've come down. I don't know why they've come down with as well as he played last year, but they are very affordable right now. So it might be a play that you can go and get, or just go buy the PSA 10s right now. The PSA 10s are only around $500.
Okay. So sell my Caitlin, take the profits, and
buy yourself a rookie ticket auto PSA 10 Maxey
or Wembanyama. I'm torn.
Or or Maxey.
Yeah.
Get your Maxey. You're going to put $100 in your pocket from Caitlin and get your
favorite player
rookie ticket auto PSA 10 Maxey. It's going to feel great because you got that $100. Take that $100 and go buy the pink Hyper Wemby and grade it.
There you go.
Then you get 2 for 1.
I should totally do that. Chad, we should do this more often.
We should. But before we go, you have a very special announcement you'd like to make.
Oh, I completely forgot. You guys, some of you know, or at least Chad knows, that I used to have a podcast called Hoops and Cards and did it for 3 years and love it. I miss podcasting, and one of my lifelong friends and I have been kicking around the idea of launching a podcast about movies and movies that have impacted our lives since we were kids. So it's going to be like two old buddies talking about movies. Some of them we love, some of them we hate, but it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be called Midnight Blue. And the blue is BLEW because he's going to say that the movie I like blows, and but Midnight Blue, we're going to talk back and forth about. Some of them will be famous movies that everybody knows, like maybe classics like Top Gun, Die Hard, Rocky IV, those kind of things. And then others will be obscure movies that we like, but we don't want, like, we're kind of nervous to talk about them because the other guy hates it. So it'll be fun, man. But yeah, thanks for reminding me. Midnight Blue.
Yeah, you're welcome. I will be more than happy to come on there. I don't know tons about movies, but I will be more than happy to come on there and make an idiot of myself. And as the basketball season gets closer and gets going here, we'll have to see if we can do this like once a month or once every other month and get you on here and talking some hoops.
Chad, that'd be great. I love it. Great to see you. I'm grateful for your friendship, and I learn a ton. Love the NBA. Even though I'm not doing the podcast, I'm addicted to the NBA and still a Cavs season ticket holder and still got all these investments. So I want to keep them going.
Yeah. All right. Well, that sounds good.
Awesome.
Thanks for joining me tonight. Thanks for watching, everybody. And I'll have some Caitlin Clark plays for you next time. Have a good night, everybody.